G'day there, welcome to this Mark's Reviews and Tutorials video. I did an interesting spa repair. If you look at that manifold there, we had to replace the air line coming into the jets and from the blower. You can see here I've had to manufacture this manifold. From the left hand side you can see the end cap and then the 4-part manifold and then a circle of 10, and then out the back of that you've got the barb where it joins onto the larger size pipe. So that actually had to be put together from individual components. We're in the midst of a pretty intense spa repair here, so I thought I'd make a video and show you what's going on, what it's all about. There are lots of spa parts available, mainly though from wholesalers. It might be a little bit hard to get on retail. If you're in Australia, you can look up Nillumbik's Pool and Spa Service. We can get all this sort of stuff for you, or New Zealand. But what we're doing here, we're replacing this jet. Now I've got another video, I'll put a link up here that shows how to replace the jet. We've just replaced the body. The old one was cracked. Very common that the water fittings or the air fittings break on these, and then the entire jet body, this part here, needs to be switched out. So we've done that, but this video is just about connecting all of the hoses. See, we've got the old hose. I've got a big long piece of hose here because you've got to make sure it doesn't kink. And one of these springs, these are actually, when you're putting these hoses on, you glue both sides. They'll glue the barb and you glue the hose. Then you put a spring onto it. And these springs are also great for stopping the hose from kinking. If it wants to kink, you can put a spring on the hose, because when it kinks, it sort of goes flat like that and stretches out. Keeping it circular with one of those will stop it from kinking. And they can kink if they get a bit warm too, because they go soft. And this is a weird old connection. It's an old spa, and this is where the air comes in. And this is just duplicating the manifold that was on it. So we're going to connect this on into this air pipe here. And then we've got all of these air tubes here to be connected back up. And there's 14 of them, believe it or not. That's why there's a 10 port and a 4-point port on here. And that's the air blower is going to blow air into there, and then into those 14 ports, and then out all around the spa. So that's what we're doing. We've got a piece of new hose on here connecting the jet. We are going to be using, that's the bigger hose. We're going to be using the little hose, putting new bits onto here. Again, glue and press on with air hose. We don't use a clip with the smaller sizes. The big tip with these guys, like, they are just rock hard. They are hard, can't be used. Either dip them in hot water or get a heat gun and blow some hot air on them to soften them up. And I'll show you how to do that, and then we can put a barb in and glue a barb in. So I'll stick a joining barb, which is one of those, into here, and I'll show you how it's done. Step one is heating. Holding the camera, it's gone out of the way a bit, but they don't take much. It's better not to overdo it. And have a look at that. That was just rock hard before, and now it's quite okay. Now you do need to get all of the little gremlins out from the inside. You don't want them as part of your seal. So I just use a knife. We're just going to run that around that inside edge, as in just stick it in the hole and spin it around, just to get that rough material out so it doesn't get in under the edge of the barb. I'll show you how to do that. Okay. That's ready now. And then just the glue, using special flexible pipe PVC glue. We're going to glue both the barb and this fitting, and then press them together. I was going to say my apologies not having a cameraman with me, but I am in the smallest little hole of all get up in the corner of the spa here doing this repair, so they wouldn't have fitted in anyway. Here's the top view. So you've got to climb up from where it was, climb across that little skinny deck bit, then hop down in the hole and then get into it. Really good motivation to get the right parts with you and not have to come and go. So it's pressed right up to the shoulder. If it's all tight and hard, dip it in the water again or do it with the heat gun again. You don't want it hot so it mucks up the glue, but you want it warm enough so that it'll form to the shape of the tube. If it's all out of shape, you might get a little hole and then you'll get a drip out of your spa, and that's the last thing you want. But it'll conform this way to the shape and glue it on. It's there forever. As a matter of fact, if you want to do a repair, you can never get those out or off. You've got to cut the tube and start again. So I've got to do that 14 times now. And then what's going to happen is that from here, we'll have a piece of the new, more flexible, easy to use tube will come up onto the manifold, and all of those fittings will fit onto the manifold. Okay, as you can see, we're getting into the repair now. We've got a myriad of different methods I'm using. This tube here, you see he was long enough, so he is glued direct on to the new manifold. This guy was just a bit short, so he's got a joiner and a bit of tube. It doesn't matter the length of tube. This guy here, there was actually a little loop piece that's there, went from the jet onto the manifold. So it's been replaced with that one there coming out the back of the jet. You can see the clear line at the back there coming around, up and under. And these guys here are all positioned so that they'll be able to come down. You can get a bit of movement out with the heat gun. You soften them up and get them into some sort of right direction. And yeah, anyway, that's halfway through. We're getting there. There's another one there. You can see here, this one is going to come. Because there's a lot of, you don't want to have kinks and so forth, so you do try and let the tubes tell you where they want to go and connect them up. And then the further ones, you've got longer tubes, so they'll be okay. You can bring the new tubes up to here and do what you want. But we're getting there. There's a whole bunch up the back there yet that need to be joined. One tip is try and work, don't put pipes in where you, so make it harder for yourself. Get the back ones done first, bringing them forward like I had with all the joiners in them, so that yeah, you don't block yourself off all here and then find it really hard to get the last ones in at the back. Okay, so we're at the pretty end now. All those guys over the back, you can see joined like that, coming through here. All of those 4 up onto the manifold are joined. All of those, there's one to go. See him there? We've joined over the back. He's going to come up and he's going to stick onto there, and that will be 10 on the front, 4 on the back, 14 done. So the jet is fully in, the water is plumb to it. It's got its little anti-kink protection thing on it. So we've just got one last joint and then we're done. Okay, there it is, last one glued on. And she is all ready. Just leave it overnight to dry for the glue, and then she's ready to go. Jet is put back in, and you see the space. All of this was right on top of the jet. I've put it now so it's not right on top of the jet, it's away from it. So we can get to that jet and work on it if need be. But there we go, job done. Jet replaced, all of these heads replaced, and hopefully that's all the leak. We found 3 major leaks in there. And by replacing all of that, hopefully when we fill it up, she'll be good to go.